Raiders. We're going to open this video off with a Prism Shard pull. This is Glazer. This is Snap Judgments. Today we're going to go over the 10 most account-changing legendaries that I could pull from shards. And yes, of course, one is in these Prism shards. We've got two pulls. We spent the 20 bucks for the two pulls. We're going to see what we get. Let's hit one. Our one is a epic, so we don't care. There are literally no epics we care about. We got Trumbor. Our second is another epic. We don't care about any epics here. We have Whiffed. Old Hermit Jorg is whatever. Increase attack, burn, and revive. All right, whatever. These are junk epics. We did not pull. So we are going to tell you about the legendaries that I most want in this game, the legendaries that would most change my account, and what makes each so good, so that you know that if these are ever in your sights, that you are getting the best of the best. I have a really, really developed roster at this point. Like, right? Like for a mid-game player, I'm absolutely crushing it. I've got plenty. I've got 3 turtles. I've got 3 assassins. I've got a mythical commodus. I finished Mikage. I've got Newt, who would be like top 5. Predator for arena. I've got 2 of the best arena champions in Armand and Lord of Fabian. Fabian's another one who would be there. I've got a controller and a healer in Mad Hatter. My account is reasonably developed, yet still these 10 champions would change anything. However, before we talk about those 10 champions, I just want to let you know the best way to start a new Raid Shadow Legends account is really simply to use my website. Not even a code. It's so much easier than a code. Use my website. All you got to do is go to epyre, epyre.com/snap, epyre.com/snap, and you're going to get Narma the Return. You're also going to get Seeker, who's ridiculously good. You're going to get Venomage, who's ridiculously good, and Tyrell, who's super helpful for an early account. Along with Narma, this is the best start for a clan boss for if you want to get to Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss as quickly as possible so you can start farming legendary shards and develop your account, this is going to be the code for you, epyre.com/snap. All right, so we whiffed on our pull there, which is the big problem with Raid, right? Like too often you throw some money in the game and you come back with nothing. These are the legendaries I most want to pull right now in the game that I think would change my account. And we're going to start with an Ogren Tribes Void Legendary, and so many of these are voids, it's ridiculous. It makes it really, really hard to want to pull. My Ogren Tribes are reasonably developed, however, I don't have the books or the time to upgrade most of these. I'm pretty sure I can clear this area of whatchamacallit, of faction wars if I just upgrade my stupid legendaries. I even have a couple of really good epics here. We have Ugo here. I've got a big soul for Siege Hulk that I can use. The rest of these are nothing. Skrank is perfectly cromulent. I actually ate my man eater like an idiot when I first started. But yeah, so I've got plenty. I should, if I just upgrade like Gurgo, Bigoon, and Ugir, I'm probably done. I have precisely 0 of these built. However, one champion I would immediately build if I pulled him is Klazag Keyhold, the best Ogren Tribe champion in the game. Period. Bar none. One of the best champions in the game. In fact, one of my favorites in the game. So his A1 is insane, right? Attack when enemy, transfer all debuffs from the champion to the target before the attack, and bosses can't resist it. That's utterly, utterly absurd and ridiculous for entirely obvious reasons. Also, a true fear that you can buck up to 100% chance that can't be resisted by bosses. Doesn't really work on most bosses, but still, really, really, really strong. How about his A2? Okay, attacks all enemies 2 times after the first hit, does a 75% chance of a 60% decreased defense, and a 25% weaken on all enemies for 2 turns. So first hit, and then decreases their defense and weakens them, again 100% when booked, on a 3 turn. So like they're going to take a ton of extra damage from that second hit. After the second hit, they get a 50% decreased accuracy and 50% decreased resistance on all enemies for 2 turns. Can't be resisted by bosses. Again, absolutely crazy damage on that one. That's not all. Places a counterattack and unkillable on all allies for 2 turns. 2-turn unkillable on a 4 turn is ridiculously good for every obvious reason you can think of, right? Your guys are just not going to go down and they're going to attack like crazy. Also, places a taunt on the champion for 2 turns, and if a boss is present in the current round, these buffs are protected. Can't be removed. Forget you, Hydra. And then just passively, whenever the champ places a debuff on me, deals damage equal to 1% of their max HP for each debuff they're currently under, stacks up to 10%, occurs once per skill, once per target. It's just a casual extra 10% damage, max HP damage, passively. We don't care about the all defense and all battles, but one of the things we're going to see in a lot of these champions is so many of them, excuse me, so many of them are damage based on defense. Defense keeps you alive, right? Attack just deals damage. Defense keeps you alive. So if your damage is also based on the thing that helps you be alive, this is a win. If this wasn't one of my best, this would be probably top five. If this wasn't one of my best factions, this would probably be top five. So at number four is at number nine, that's how numbers work. At number nine is a weird one. It is a Skinwalker. And some of these, I think three of these are FOMO champions. This is Sun Wukong, who is a straight up FOMO champion. When I started, I missed the 24-hour window of using a code. And now you can get Pelops, who's better than Sun Wukong. But I wish I had Sun Wukong because I think he is super freaking cool. Um, he starts with a 28% speed in all battles. He's like a cheat mode to your early arena journey, which is obviously hugely important because that if you're winning a lot in arena, you're more likely to play it more, and that's going to fill up your Great Hall, which is going to increase your account. His A1 attacks enemy with a stun, very nice. If you know enough of the game, to know what the hell is happening, right? Stunning an enemy is great. However, attacks one enemy, 50% defense ignore. Attacks remaining any surplus damage if the target's killed, and ignores 50% of those targets' defense. Can't critical, unfortunately. If the initial target survives, it gets sheeped. Like you either kill him or get a sheep. Come on. All right, then attacks all enemies, and this is the one that's ridiculously frustrating. Before attacking, steals buffs from all enemies and places block buffs for 2 turns. 50% of stealing that stone skin puts block buffs. You just sort of win immediately when that goes off. And most annoyingly, I don't often ban him in live arena, but once in a while, revives this champ with 100% HP and 100% turn meter 3 turns after they were killed. So if your team is survival, he just keeps coming back, and then he gets 100% HP, full turn meter, so he can jump right into one of his other skills. I wish I used the Sun King code when I started my account for this absolute monster, especially an arena monster. My early arena journey was eventually carried by turtles, but until I got Leonardo, it was just like a struggle. And Leo's like long gone from my arena team, but still, Sun Wukong is a champion I really, really, really wish I had. Also, like, please note, my skinwalkers are a disaster. Not a single, I mean, Tunisia, who's really good but not great, is my only legendary, and my epics are I mean, look, I've got to build Akemta. My Akemta is one of my worst built champions. I usually have things built reasonably well for a mid game player, but my Akemtum is garbagely built, and then nothing else here is good. I don't actually have a Weregan. That was for the fusion. Scabrous is fine. He's very whatever. I don't really have it in me to build him. Bauf is fine. Basher is fine, right? I don't have Gom, who's probably the second best epic in this faction. Just getting Sun Wukong would be huge. And eventually, yes, I will have Marius, who, if he were eligible for this list, you cannot get Marius from shards, only from progress, right? Would be either number one or number two on the list. Straight up, Marius is completely broken and insane. This ain't the video for him. I just want to let you know that Marius is completely broken and insane and would otherwise be here, but he's not eligible because this is the best that I'm. Like, these are, with one cheat, things I'm trying to pull from shards and, like, dying for. All right, so next up, we are going to go over to the Demon Spawn. Demon Spawn's most wanted is really simple for me. Not you, Chalco. Shoot, Chalco. I wouldn't mind Chalco. And sorry, let's actually talk about my Demon Spawn overall before we talk about the answer here. I have Commodus, who basically carries me. Doesn't quite get me through the end of Faction Wars. Shazar is a garbage champion who I very much regret building, and Gratros is really good. So I have two good champions, one bleh. And then I've got to finish building a lore. I've got a decent soul for her, but like because I have Newt, it's hard to prioritize her. And then everything else here is just sort of mid. This is one of the weaker factions to me in terms of epic champions. I could build a Magnar at some point, who's a decent damage dealer. Akov I'll get from Doom Tower at some point. These are all just sort of bleh. Achak is okay. The Wenderin is okay. They're like just a lot of just generally okay stuff. Nothing absolutely amazing. So I really, really want Duchess Lilitu. I think Duchess Lilitu is amazing. First of all, speed in all battles, 19% is something you're always happy to have. Attacks one enemy 2 times, and then you get a nice, decent sized shield on this champion and the other champion with the lowest HP. Not bad. This is where the money starts happening, though, right? This is where we make our money. The reason I want her so bad. block debuffs, and 50% increased attack on all allies for 2 turns. On a 4-turn cooldown, that means with one other block debuffs allies, Iron Twins is answered. Not only would she like basically solve my faction wars, she also gives me a complete solve for Iron Twins. The block debuffs means that the Iron Twins can't place the big old burn thing that it does, and once it can't do that, I'm gonna forget the Iron Brand. Duh, they can't hit the Iron Brand on you, and if it can't hit the Iron Brand on you, then you're just going to absolutely like crush it, right? Like it's not going to increase damage, and you can take your time and just beat it. That's 2 turns. I have a debuff increaser. I have a few debuff increasers, but I'm just going to say Mad Hatter is a debuff increaser. So I can keep that block debuffs up at all times, and then the Iron Twins is a joke. And then just casually, a 70% HP for all dead allies with a veil on everyone and a 15% continuous heal for 2 turns. Just really, really good stuff, right? That's one of the better revives among legendaries with this ridiculously good block debuffs that's going to keep you alive. And then she's just attacking, putting little shields, but also decrease damage taken by allies from AoE attacks by 25% or 15% from bosses. Almost every attack a boss does is AoE, which means she's just giving a static 15% damage reduction. I think Duchess Lotu is an absolute beast. She is my most wanted demon spawn, and she is coming in at number 8 on this list. There's a lot of good champions here, right? Like, Lammasu is not eligible, right? Lammasu is not eligible. She's a fragment. So Lammasu would be up there. Chalco's pretty solid. I'd be very, very happy for Volcanos. I'm not sad to get Wither. Like, there's a good bunch here that I will have Drexthar relatively soon, and Drexthar might actually solve this for me. Helicath is phenomenal, but Duchess Little 2, by solving 2 areas, is my pick there. Next up, we're heading over to dwarves, and my dwarves need help. Basically, my dwarves need help because Kira is not a champion I actually own. She is a fusion. She has become Lady Mikage at this point. And then I've got a really, really well built up Geomancer who's not great in Faction Wars, and a built up Demetha who's good but not great in Faction Wars. I can build Runekeeper, yes. I can build Cornelia, who I don't actually like very much, despite people telling me how good she is. I even think our friend Madak is halfway decent. However, I'm holding off because like Trunda, Brogni, Osgrin, Mountain King, Black Tusk, blah, blah, Tholin, Granite, Tormin, Acrisia, Senna, Arnor. These are all insane pulls. As soon as I pull one dwarf legendary, everything changes and we're just good to go. However, the one I most want is Hilvi. Hilvi is one of my 2 big regrets. The other one is further up the list. I had just done a fusion. I didn't have the resources for a deck of fate right around Christmas. It was right around Christmas. I was spending a bunch of money traveling with family. I decided not to spend, and I didn't realize that deck of fates were really a thing. It was 3 months into my account, right? I didn't realize deck of fates were a thing. If I did, I would have spent and pulled Hilvi. Hilvi is utterly, utterly insane. She is just a phenomenal champion. She is going to be the second highest supporter here. Look, speed in all battles is, again, speed is the most important stat in the game. A 19% speed on your speed lead is amazing. It's what you're looking for, right? But then attack 192 times. Each has a 50% chance of a decreased defense. I'm going to ignore Tormund. I don't own Tormund. So I'm not trying to pull her because I own Tormund. But still, right? Like a decreased defense on an A1 on a what amounts to 75% chance when booked is pretty nice. How about R2? Removes all buffs and freezes all enemies. All buffs are gone from enemies and they're all frozen. Just wild. And the cooldown can't be decreased or reset, which is pretty good because that's a 3-turn. So once every 3 turns, just turns it off. That gives her ridiculous wave utility where she just like ridiculously wrecks things like Doom Tower and Curse City. Curse City restarted, by the way, so if you're interested, go check that out. But yeah, tons of great stuff here. Okay, how about one of the best revives in the game? Because it's only 30% turn meter and 50% HP, but it's also a block damage for 1 turn and a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. That increased speed is so freaking good. You can literally just start with the block damage, increased speed. You get those buffs whether you revive anyone or not. And if you don't get the revive, you also get a 25% you also get a 25% turn meter increase. That's so good on a 4-turn, it's completely absurd. Passively, whenever you freeze, and remember she has a freeze right here, right? Whenever you freeze, the champion steals 1 buff from an enemy, from whoever got frozen, and burns them for 2 turns and decreases their turn meter. She's unreal. I can't believe I missed her. Just huge, huge, huge regrets from me. What an L. Hilvi would completely, because Hilvi and with Newt is just enough to clear faction wars alone, and then like I just throw I increase all her stuff. With Demetha, I've got my lovely Geomancer. Maybe I have to build someone else to 550, but that would be the max, and then I'd be done, right? Like that would be so much easier than having to deal with this bullshit. And I could have had her, and I just didn't. Someone I've never really had a chance for. I don't know why, but they never offer her for anything. Um, Yet another Void Legendary. It's not Terrace, it's Marichka. And Marichka's again only this low. And low. We're at number 6 for Marichka because look, Michelangelo, Kaja, and then eventually I'll build Timid. Kaja's at 660, but she's not fully built yet. I've got enough to finish Faction Wars, which means I don't have to worry about this. I can build Helior too, who's a perfectly cromulent champion. Um, Mikey, Kaja, Timid, Helior, that's 4. And then I just throw in Archmage Helmet, Stagnite, who I've got a 5 or 6 star soul for, then haven't bothered building yet, right? I've got a 5 star 50 Ursala, who I can empower. Eventually, I will build Annabelle to just be able to solo Bommel, despite Bommel being a thing I can usually handle. It's just an annoying champion. So I will eventually, like, I've got plenty of options for my 5th there. I just really, 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 I think I can do it, right? Like, I don't think I actually need the extra stuff. I think that our lovely friend Kaja and her revive is going to be enough to finish. I'm already at the last boss. I just have to like bother like booking out not booking out. Well, booking out Kaja, not Timid, not booking out Timid, but getting Timid to he's 550. I want him to 660 and I want their masteries and I don't have it. I think that's going to be enough to basically do the job, but for the time being, I really really still want Marichka. I don't really care if I can do it. I want Marichka. I think she's account changing just for everything. Where would I use her? Everywhere. She's the best speed lead around, or at least one of them. All battles 24%. That's 5% more than the regular 19 that we get. For that alone, she's great. But like, all right, she passively, when she dies, revives all dead allies with 50 HP and 70% turn meter. But she actively places a block damage on all allies whenever an ally receives a bomb, poison, or burn. That just straight up like rocks tons of stuff in Grim Forest, in Doom Tower, that absolutely just straight up wrecks a bunch of different teams in arena or live arena. Just wild stuff. Her A1, one of the best A1s around, attacks an enemy and just gets a random ally that joins. If you have Taris, who hits like a brick shit house, then it's Taris, right? That's unreal. Just an ally attack on the A1, and you run her just with a bunch of damage deals because she can be a one-person healing and protection machine on her own, and you're good to go. Okay, fully restores any ally's increased max HP and heals by 40% of this champion's max HP. Not bad, right? So she's going to the destroy. Who cares, right? But she's going to heal 40% of her HP. 40% is a ton, and then a shield and protected strengthen on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 20% of her max HP. So you don't build her damage. You just say, okay, so I've got one of the biggest and best heals in the game on her on a 3-turn cooldown, a big old shield just because, and yeah, things are staying alive, right? She's your one-stop shopping for support champion, except debuff. Oh wait, she does do debuff removal. Removes all debuffs from all allies and fills the turn meter for all allies. Fills turn meter of each ally an extra 5% by each debuff removed from that. Increase resistance by 5% for each debuff removes, and an extra turn if she removes 5 more debuffs. So she's your speed lead. She's your debuff remover. She's sort of your reviver with her passive. She's your healer, and she's got a random ally attack. I don't know what more you want. I feel like she's too low at number 6. She's truly broken. I think Hilvy is the last just S tier champion. The top 6 are like truly, completely, and utterly broken things. Although one of them is just a FOMO thing. So like I think number 3, spoiler alert, number 3, we're at number 6 is going to be this FOMO thing, and like everything else should be up, which would put her in the top 5. But number 6 is actually not something that even has faction wars. It's just Hecaton. I mean, one, he's one of the coolest looking champions in the game, right? He's got his speed in all battles by 24%. You know I love that. He's got the best A1 in the game. Attacks one enemy, 75% chance to provoke and enfeeble on target for 1 turn. 25% chance that can't be resisted. But if each enemy has a number of buffs equal to or less than this champion's, and obviously you run him with other buffers, right? Or you make him so fast it doesn't matter, because equal or less than, it attacks everyone and provokes and enfeebles everyone. 100% one booked. That's the best A1 in the game. He is my, in many ways, if it weren't for mitigating factors of others, my most wanted champion. His A2 attacks one enemy before attacking, 60% increased defense for 2 turns, and 1 Stormcall stack on all allies, which means they're gonna be like counterattacking and blocking shit. This attack is always critical if the number of buffs on the target is equal to lower, yada yada. Ignore Stone Skin, because why not? Ignores 50% of the target's defense, why not? Buff thing again. If you kill it, if the attack kills an enemy, decrease turn meters equal to turn meter the target had. So you kill the thing with the most turn meter with him because he hits like a freaking truck. And then, by the way, a 3 turn. Then everyone else loses their turn, basically. 30% increased crit rate, block damage, and counterattack on a target ally for 2 turns. Just casually keep everyone alive, and then increase their turn meter. And then passively, whenever an ally under Stormcall lands a critical hit, champion deals additional pure damage equal to basically a ton of crap damage, max HP damage. He's I'm gonna say it, a Greek god. Please don't leave. Please do sub. He is a Greek god. He's unbelievable, and I can't believe he's only number 5 on this list. That is how broken the top 4 are. And part of the reason he's not at the top is because he's not something that can help me in faction wars, while this next champion is. It's going to be Solinar, and I can almost get through this faction wars literally because Arbiter and Islan survive forever. I could build Alanerl, who is my starter champion, my starter code forever. Wallmaster Athorian would have been here if Solinar wasn't a champion. I really, really want Athorian. Would have been lower on the list, but would have been here. This is another one that I can probably eke out. Excuse me. I have Scramus built because really good into Hydra, right? I can build Terrell and Royal Guard, both of whom I have good stuff for. I need to build Vergus and Ethlin. These are really, really good epics. There's so many good epics here, I could be okay. But I have Noldwa. And with Noldwa, and by the way, I have Yannicka ready to fuse. I'm just waiting for the right time. So I don't need Solinar for whatever it's called, but he's for faction wars, but he's the best arena champion in the game right now if you have Noldwa, and I just so happen to have Noldwa, who I haven't bothered to build because she's good but not nearly as good without Solinar. He takes a champion I have and ascends her to S tier while also absolutely dominating. Why? So what you mostly do with him is use his A1. He attacks all enemies and always crits with Noldwa, which means you can build him without any crit and just run them exclusively together. This places a fatigue debuff on all enemies, which is nice but not amazing, and has an 80% chance to counterattack with the skill on any whenever the enemy does an extra turn or instant turn, and just a 15% whenever the enemy has their turn meter increase, which happens constantly. Obviously ridiculous. You don't use his A1 and A2 a ton. Sorry, his A2 and A3 a lot. His A1 is so good. Plus, if Nold is on the team, his A2 always crits and ignores 10% of defense for each buff. Pack some buffs, ignore a bunch of defense. Immune to all debuffs while the skill is not on cooldown. So I basically never use this. This doesn't work against bosses, right? But fine, for everything else, for every other bit of content. Immune to all debuffs while the skill is on cooldown. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff, you get a random buff instead. That is the most frustrating thing in the world in Arena if you haven't faced him. Attacks on enemy. For attacking, steals all buffs and 100% turn meter from the target if they're not under. So it's good. Sorry, he's the second best arena because my guy Lord Fabian says, "Oh, your skills are all on cooldown. I can kill you." Attacks on enemy before attacking steals all buffs and 100% turn meter from the target if they're not under Stone Skin. And if Nold is on the team, you just ignore Stone Skin and get a crit. You get 75% damage on extra turns and instant turns. And while the skill is on cooldown, reduce the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy receives an extra turn, has an instant turn, or turn meter. Whenever an enemy receives healing, you just stop it passively. This champion will receive that healing instead. If Nold is on the same team, enemies get damage instead of the healing. Doesn't work against bosses, fine. Once per round, this champion is dead. He revives when everyone dies with 100% turn meter, 100% HP, and a giant magma shield of 300% of his max HP. And if Nolda was on the same team, even if she's dead, is protected. He is a monster. He's just an evil, evil monster. Look, I like Hecaton more. I think Hecaton's cooler, does more stuff. I think Solinar, because I have Noldwa, has to be above. Next up is the champion I can't get. I know it's cheating to have a champion I can't get. I'm sorry. But and we can buff everything up one, and I'll give you a bonus champion at the end just to make up for this, but it's Donnie. Donnie is okay. First of all, my Lizardman is embarrassing. I have Predator who's carried me Oh, ridiculous amount. Karen, I haven't bothered to build, and then I have Venomage and nothing else. And there's no like good epics here. This is, in my opinion, the single worst epic faction in the game. Period, bar none. Like I think the epics in this faction are utter garbage, which means I need some legendaries to go with my predator. Michael and Donnie would immediately solve it, and I have every other turtle, and he makes Leo, who's amazing, just completely broken. So attacks when enemy, heals all allies by 5% of max HP, instantly activates one continuous heal on allies. Not bad, right? Why is he here this high? Attacks enemies decreases cooldowns on all allied skills except the champ in my 2 turns. That's completely stupid. That's completely stupid. They also get a 30% increase speed, but just resetting a bunch of cooldowns is completely and utterly absurd. Removes all debuffs too, with a heal and a strengthen and a turn meter fill. So he debuff removes and he fixes cooldown issues. Whenever the other turtles attack, he joins, as always. Whenever an ally is about to receive a fatal hit, this champion prevents that ally's death and keeps them alive with 1 HP. Then equalize that ally's HP, brought up to the average HP of the team. I don't know what to say. I want Donnie so bad. So the week I started, if you're wondering when I started Raid Shadow Legends, it's the week Donatello was a fragment summon or whatever the hell he was. So I had no idea what that was. I didn't have enough stuff. I was able to get the other 3 turtles, honestly, largely through sheer luck, but I was never able to get Donnie. And I have all the others, and now Donnie's gone seemingly for good, and my Lizardman faction is dead and useless, and I would kill for Donatello. And like in some ways, he's number 1 on this list from the FOMO, but I can't quite put him there. I can't quite put him there. Because well, okay. Let's go find our orcs. This is why I pulled at the start of the video. I have, as you can see, Shaik. I can probably do this faction because now I have Artak, and Artak is stupid. And Tila, Artak, Tila, I ate Ultimate Gallic. I have another copy. I have a 6-star Soul and Seer. I probably have enough to get by here, right? I just have to like actually build my Artak and my Shaik, but Hydra is something I really need to push. And Crocahad going with my Shaik is completely and utterly broken. Why? Well, attacks all enemies, single target damage to each target individually, so all that stuff that doesn't work. Also ignores reflect damage, ally protection, and pain link buffs, and deals double damage when counterattacking when Shaik's on the team. Okay. Attacks all enemies, that's like an extra hit on enemies under 2 or more debuffs, obviously always. Has a 70% chance of a leech and 20% weaken for 2 turns. Can't be resisted, Shaik's on the team. Oh wait, I have Shaik. What else we got? That's a 3-turn, by the way. Will ignore the target's defense, life barrier, and poison cloud. Oh, let's just take care of some bosses in Grim Forest. Oh, let's just take care of Hydra and and it affects that redirect attacks. Oh, Hydra. Damage or debuffs to another target. Repeats the attack once if Shaq is on the team. So a double attack on a 3-turn right there. That's going to ignore all the annoying Hydra stuff. How do we know he's a Hydra champion? They put it in his passive. Increase champion's attack by 5 when killing an enemy or decapitating a Hydra head up to 25%. Attack by 10% when killing an enemy, decapitating a Hydra head instead. If Shaik is on the same team, stacks up to 50%. 50% increased damage to one of the most damaging things in the game. Also, will instantly activate the Dominant Predator, that one, against Hydra when an ally is devoured by that head if Shaik is on the team. I mean, we don't care about the ally attack, but this is utterly disgusting. I have Packmaster Shaik, and we're not gonna look at everything Shaik. Um, when you attack with your A1, you're gonna get the A1 attack all enemies from Crocad. Cool. When sorry, you get a shield that can't be removed if you have Crocad. You get a taunt and a reflect damage for 2 turns that can't be removed or stolen if you have Crocad. And like the others are terrible. If any of these others were decent, um, you get a 100% block buffs on all enemies for 2 turns. Can't be resisted with Crocad. 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns, so they can only get buffs for 1 turn. And then when the champion is attacked, the Kroga had counterattacks, which means double damage with a speed increase. So like all I need to build Packmaster Shaik is Crocahad. Um, Crocahad, I want to be the first thing I'm going to do with our new fusion thing, where I can change my fusion. It's immediately going to make between Crocahad, Artak, and Shaik, it's going to make this faction wars an utter joke. I don't even know if I really give a crap about Seer at that point in the same faction, but even then, not number one. Oh, by the way, I casually have a 6-star soul on Crocat in the number one spot. In the number one spot, we have the champion that makes progress easiest in the game, if I can find him. It's Wixwell. No one makes progress in this game in Raid Shadow Legends easier than does Vault Keeper Wixwell. He basically says immediately win all clan bosses, dominate clan boss like nothing else, do millions and billions of damage. Obviously, you do the best at that. You do the most damage if you have Titus on the same team. But with the new fusion thing, as soon as you have Wixwell, you can start working toward Titus. So that's not a problem. I don't have Titus. I don't care. I do have a 6-star Wixwell soul, just waiting though. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of a provoke. Boss up to 80, which books up to 100. So a casual always provoke. Oh, bye Hydra. No one cares about you. That, by the way, is a lovely one-turn provoke. Attacks all enemies 2 times. 50% decrease attack. Nice, not bad, right? Pretty good into 2-turn decrease attack at 100%. Is pretty good against clan boss. But hey, how about we increase the value of all shields on all allies? The value of each shield is proportional to the number of buffs which had their duration increased. So you use a Pelops or a Valkyrie, or obviously a Titus, and you just get stupid, ridiculous shields. That's how he does so much damage. But what he does is basically say my shield is so big that Hydra and clan boss can't get through it. So I'm gonna max out turns or go until shield ignore happens, and then I'm gonna do crazy, crazy damage. Auto one key on Clan Boss. Auto one key on Max Hydra. How about we place 2 intercept stacks on the target ally? Also play a 6-minute increased defense and a shield on all allies for 2 turns. So he brings his own shield. Aw. The shield is proportional to champion's defense. That's fine. I would much rather just increase the duration of his increase the value of shields. You just keep increasing the duration of that basically forever, and he's unbeatable in Clan Boss. Clan Boss, by the way, is where you get the best stuff in the game. You get a mythic champion from Chimera, amazing into Chimera. You get one of the best legendaries, Mithrala, from beating Hydra. From beating Hydra, no, he's amazing into Hydra. And you get Sacred Shards and Void Shards and all the books you want from Ultra Nightmare, and he's the best Ultra Nightmare champion. He also just gets a counterattack every turn because we don't care about the increased defense. 6-star Stole, I am absolutely, absolutely, absolutely dying for him. What is the champion I would choose if I didn't choose Donnie? Before we head out, because I promised you a bonus champion. I did. I said it. I would do it. I'm going to take a quick look. It's not here. It was going to be someone here, but Benalicia actually turned that up. I want to Geogrid pretty badly. Benalicia stops that noise from being terribly important. We picked a dwarf. We picked an Argonite. Um, Sylvan Watchers was going to be a pick, but I now have Vestel, who I'm in the process of building, and Vestel is unfreaking real damage. With Blockade, should be enough to finish there. Undead Hordes looking, I don't actually have Saito, that's a fusion component, but Fabian and Maria get me most of the way for this one. Plus, straight up, there's no one else I'm completely in love with in this faction. It's one of those factions that just doesn't have anything. By the way, this would be the number 10 spot. We're not talking about like one of the top spots in the game here. Dark Elves. Um, Mithrala is actually my most wanted, and I'm going to get her for free anyway. Lydia is, again, another freebie. Visix is close, but not quite there. There is nothing I'm completely, completely in love with here. And again, we're trying to limit to one per faction, so I can't go in certain other places. Did we pick here? Yeah, that's Wixwell, duh. So we can't pick a Bannerlord, just, well, we did pick a Bannerlord, right? We ended up going with Marishka, so that eliminates Cecilia and Titus, who would otherwise be here. Cecilia, Titus, and even Raglan are major wants. Voids are like everything, friends. Voids are like everything. We picked Elf because we have Solinar. Barbarians. We beat Barbarians clan boss, so it's probably not Barbarians. But despite that, the number 10 spot's actually going to be Odin. Odin Feyfather is disgusting, one of the coolest lookers around. Void and Arena by 40 is hilarious. I will happily run an all Void team with you, Odin. I have no shame. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of a Berserk for 2 turns, which means they're going to do more damage, but they're also going to like take triple damage, so I'll take that. Removes all buffs from all enemies. Okay. 80% chance of a decreased defense. 100% obviously, and a stun, which is amazing, and then attacks one enemy before attacking steals all buffs. Damaging depicts on target's type, does damage based on whatever their thing is. Against bosses, it's going to do max HP because of course it is, and can ignore 100% target defense. And if it kills somebody, it gives a turn revival. But the passive is why we're here. Every 9 turns, you just got to block damage uh, on this champion and a buff spread, taking all buffs to the champion, placing all allies, so everyone gets the block damage, everyone gets the good stuff. I want Odin real bad, but again, my barbarians are like shockingly decent. Um, Valkyrie, like Armand's controls everything, right? Scylla's a reviver, Alsgor's a protector. Raph does some decent damage. Valkyrie offers extra protection. Jetney's pretty good, which is nice, right? Because this is another one of those factions outside of the Fat Man that doesn't have a ton. I love Hoskirl and Armina are okay. Haikatun is fine for what she is, but doesn't have a ton else in the epic slots. All right, that's going to be the video. epirate.com/slash snap is going to be how you use our code to start your own new raid account, and hopefully you get one of these amazing champions. I'd also like to note that this might be coming up. Ooh, is this over? Curse City is over. That's nice. Which means I can start and hopefully get that one spot that I need to. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to do it this time. All right, I'm gonna get that one spot I need to in order to continue my Marius missions, which is like one of the most important things to do. However, raid needs to fix something straight up. I'm gonna just go over to here to campaign. Doesn't matter where, but I'm gonna show you in campaign right now. I'm down to 365 multi-battles, and if I run out of multi-battles, I don't know if I'm playing this game. Straight up. I love raid. Multi-battles are stupid. Give me multi-battles. Let me play your game. I'm not going to sit here and press refresh or restart every 2 minutes. That's not happening. Outside of that, I love raid. You will love raid too. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you in another video real soon. Peace.